Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Seattle College's Conversations With. Very excited to be here with Priscilla today.
Hi everyone.
Where are you from, Priscilla?
I'm from Mexico, Veracruz, Mexico.
Veracruz, nice.
Very nice, like beach city. Very popular for the Mexican people because it's a cheap destiny. It's not like going to Cancun or Los Cabos, you know, that it's so expensive.
Right.
Veracruz, on the other hand, is like more like popular for the local tourism.
I did not. You know, I don't think about, when I talk to people in the United States, a lot of people are wanting to go to Mexico to visit. But it's usually the same thing as Cancun, or it's,
Los
maybe.
Cabos,
Yeah,
Puerto
exactly.
Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. But I don't think about Mexicans going on vacations too.
Of course, yeah.
Of course they do. Because
Yeah.
we go to, I go to other states, so.
Especially for Mexicans, I don't know if you know, but it is challenging to get visas, especially for the States. So it is not that easy that a Mexican, first of all, can afford an international travel because, of course, our salaries are below, like, income compared to America or to the States. And also, the process of getting a visa is complicated. It is challenging.
What about some of your neighboring countries like El Salvador or Belize? Do you guys like to travel in some of your neighboring southern countries?
It is easier for sure because you don't need a visa. It is cheaper. But it also depends a lot of the culture where you grow up. For example, in my family, our vacations were usually going to visit more family that wasn't living in the States, but not very internationally. And it is not because my parents couldn't afford it. It was more that it wasn't part of our family culture. So my mom would rather spend time with her family than planning a trip to another country.
Right. Well, I totally understand that. I have friends back in my hometown where some of them have never even left the state. That's their home and they just don't travel. So
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really great. So what I found out as we were getting ready to do this podcast is that you're already done.
Yeah, I'm done.
So an alumni. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And tell everybody what program you did while you were here.
So I did 2 different IP short-term certificates. The first one was in Business in a Global Society. And then after I was done with that, I applied for an OPT that it's how can we say, like a extension of an F1 visa. It's like a permission that the government gives international students to have a legal authorization to work for 1 year or 2 years, depending on your major. So mine, because I was in business, it was for 1 year, and I got the chance to work as an event planner for Microsoft. And then after I was done for 1 year, I enrolled again to the same IP short-term certificate, but now in computer science, because after I was done, working with Microsoft, I was like, there is so much going on about
So much.
technical languages and coding and programming that I don't understand. And by the way, I'm married to a software engineer guy, so most of his conversations with his friends were about programming languages.
Sure, of course.
And I was like, maybe it is not my career for sure, because I have a really a real passion for business and customer service, like orientation roles or job positions. So, but I wanted to understand better.
Sure. Yeah.
So I enrolled to the computer science, and I just graduated last summer.
And how? So your first short-term certificate, you must have done at least 3 quarters worth. How long was that first certificate?
I think that I did 4.
You did 4, so a full year.
Yeah.
And then you did your
full
OPT.
Year. Yeah, I remember I asked my advisor for an extension because it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh,
and I
sure.
heard that the OPTs were a little bit delayed with the immigration process and everything.
Right.
So I asked to my advisor if I could take like some extra classes just to delay a little bit my OPT process.
Smart.
And yeah, it worked perfectly fine.
Cool. Did your OPT, and then you came back. How long was your second short-term certificate?
3 quarters.
3 quarters.
3 quarters, yeah.
And is that followed by an OPT as well?
No, because the thing is that when you already had an OPT, the condition to get another one is to kind of study something different, like a different program, or going like to the second level. In my case, because it was the same IP short-term certificate,
Gotcha.
I couldn't apply for another OPT. I needed to change to an associate or something different.
Like that. But that wouldn't have made sense for you because you already have a bachelor's degree from a university. Where did you go to university in Mexico?
In Veracruz, in my hometown,
in your hometown.
to the Technology Institute in my hometown, yeah.
And what was your degree in? Like, what did you study?
Business management.
Oh, you did business management. Wow, so you get a lot of education behind you already.
It was a lot, yeah. And it was very challenging kind of coming here and enroll again to school. It took me a while to get used to, like going to school again, having all these lectures, all these materials, all these assignments. So it took me a while to get used to, but it was worth it for sure.
So you applied for the short-term certificate, the first one. You applied for it from Mexico. You were living, or you were already in the US?
I was here already.
Oh, okay.
I was here in the States. I came to the States as an au pair.
Oh, gotcha.
That is, like a cultural exchange program.
Right. So you were on a J visa?
I was in a J1 visa, and then I did the program for 2 years. And then I decided that I love Seattle and I didn't want to go back home. So I applied to the Seattle Central College, went back home for, I think, 2 months, right before the pandemic, applied for the F1 visa. I got it approved. Back in Mexico.
So you applied for the F1 in Mexico?
In Mexico.
Oh.
I went back home.
Okay, so you went home and then did that. Interesting.
And came back immediately.
So did you have to do a visa interview in Mexico?
Yes.
In Veracruz, or did you have to travel to Mexico City?
No, I did it. In Veracruz, there is no embassy, U.S. embassy.
No consulate.
No consulate. Okay. So there is just one in Mexico City and another one, I think, that in Merida. But I did mine in Tijuana, so in the border with San Diego, because my mom was working in a project there in Tijuana. So I went to visit her and book my appointment right in that consulate. It was easier.
Right. And I always get questions from students that are applying to the U.S. Okay. They're a little nervous about their visa interviews. What was your interview like? How long did it take? What did they ask you?
It was super chill and super fast.
Oh.
It took me probably 10 minutes.
Oh.
And the funny thing is that I knew that when you are interviewing for an F1 visa, they try to make you show them that you are you have the skills in English to communicate and to success at school.
Right.
So I knew that the interview had to be in English.
Sure.
And then so I went there with that mentality, like it's going to be in English and it's okay. Like I studied my questions
Well, your English
in my
is great.
mind.
Yeah.
Thank you. And everything was in English. So I got there, and the first thing that the officer told me, it was like, do you want your interview in English or in Spanish? And I was like, I know that this interview needs to be in English. And he was like, but we can do it in Spanish if you want. And I didn't know if it was a tricky question. And I was freaked out. And I was like, okay, you know what? Just in case, I want it in English because I need to practice. And he was like, sure, whatever you want.
Cool.
So he just asked me basically, why this school? Why enroll into this school? Why Seattle? Who will sponsor me? And I had the sponsorship from my mom, part of my mom's funds, and then another part from my husband, but back then boyfriend. So I show them both bank statements, and then my enrollment letter. I think that the Seattle Central Colleges gives you a document.
Yeah.
I-20.
Yeah, they give you an I-20, and there's usually a letter, I think, in there that...
Letter of acceptance and I-20. And that was all.
Well, that sounds pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
And they were nice?
They were super nice. Like, overall, all my experiences with the consulate and the customs officers and everything, it has been pretty easy. And I'm very
really
grateful
great.
for that.
Yeah. I always envision, I don't have to worry about it because I'm an American citizen.
Yeah.
But I figure if you're not from the U.S., they can probably be a little intimidating.
Yeah.
The dark sunglasses and a concrete room and lights or something, but it's usually not
and
like
I
that.
have been there when that happens to another person, like the person that is in front of me. For example, when I applied for the J1, this was in Mexico City, and I went for the interview, the person in front of me got rejected.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, this is it. Like, for sure, if he's rejecting this lady, he's going to reject me as well.
But
and no, he didn't. So
and I've interviewed other students who've had similar experiences. In fact, I just talked to a guy from Pakistan, and he said that all of the people in front of him got rejected. He was the only one that got accepted. So if you're waiting in line, guys, if you're out there and you're going to your interview, don't despair if you see people getting rejected, because
don't get that situation to get to your nerves. Like, just relax and focus on your situation. Don't try to not listen to what's happening around you, because that can mess up with your mind a little bit.
For sure. That would be very scary to me. But.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you were younger and you did high school, had you thought about coming to school in the United States at that time, or were you just like, no, I'll just go to university in Mexico?
Not at all. I think that in my plans, I had never visualized coming to the States to study or to live. I finished high school, then I enrolled to college. I finished college, and I got a pretty good job back in my hometown. I was working as a PR analyst.
Oh, very cool.
For a global company. And I was doing just fine, but then I got to a point where I was very comfortable, comfort zone, no challenges. Everything was so easy. I felt that I learned in that job position what I needed to learn. I talked to my manager, asking for a promotion. He took a while. He was like, I'm doing my best, but at this situation, this time is blah, blah, blah. So I was like, this is the opportunity for me to take challenges, to take some risky decisions, and I applied for the upper program and decided to move here.
That's pretty cool. How was your English at the time?
It was good.
It was pretty good? Okay.
I used to work in that company. I used to write emails, and we used to have communications in English.
In English, okay.
But not that many meetings. So it was mostly written communication.
Okay.
And then, but my English was okay.
Gotcha.
Then when I moved here, I had a training in New York for 1 week.
Oh.
My first time like going fully in English to a program. And when I got there, I was so scared. I was like, all my English lessons for the past 10 years, 15 years didn't work at all. Like, I don't understand anything. I will struggle a lot with the New York accent. It's pretty different than here. They speak way more fast. And
it's a big country, so.
It's a huge country, too. So I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going back to Mexico.
No.
I don't speak English after all. But it took me like, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 days to get my ear used to. It's like a click, you know, once that you start understanding, it's like, okay, it makes sense now.
Okay. Well, this gives me hope because I've had quite a few years of Spanish, but like I've never really spent a ton of time. And so I'm hoping maybe after a few days, my ear will be like, oh, yeah.
Now I understand.
Now I understand.
Yeah, and I feel that also one of the most important factors in the English education that I got in Mexico was that all my teachers were Spanish speakers teaching me English with an Spanish accent.
Right.
So, you know, like it's way different. Like I could understand them perfectly fine.
Of course you can.
If I hear a Mexican speaking in English, I will understand them as well. But it's very different than a native person.
Right. And, you know, I've heard that. I lived in China for 4 years, and I had the same conversation, but with Chinese students. You know, they go and they're taught by a Chinese person in English. So then they meet either someone from the UK or the US, and they just can't speak. They have a really difficult time. So I know what you're talking about. Well, that's really great. So I'm curious, at what point along that journey did you meet your husband?
When I was an au pair.
When you were an au pair?
Yeah, the first year. So the au pair program is just for 1 year, and then you can decide either if you want to apply for another year, extend your visa, or just go back home.
Right.
And in the extension year, you can explore a different family, different state.
Oh.
So in my plans was like just doing 1 year with this family, and for the second year, I wanted to move to the East Coast, explore New York, Boston, Washington D.C. or something over there. But then I met my husband, and I was like, no, I'm staying.
But it's so
I'm
funny that your
here.
husband's from Argentina. What was he doing
Argentina.
here?
He worked for Microsoft back
he worked
back
for
then.
Microsoft. Did he go to school in the United States as well?
No, he went to school in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. Microsoft had a recruitment event back in his university. They went there in person. They had some raffles, some how do you say, like just like it was like an engagement, you know, like how do you say, like fair? Engagement fair?
Yeah, maybe.
With Microsoft. And he decided to apply for an internship, and at the end he got an FTE position.
Oh, great.
And right before he graduated from university, actually, and he moved to Vancouver and then to Redmond.
Oh, did he work in Vancouver for a little while?
Yeah, because the working visas are also complicated. So he applied, I think, for an H1 visa, and that's a lottery visa.
Okay.
He didn't got it. So Microsoft sent him to Vancouver for 2 years, and then they changed his visa for the H1.
Right. And so is he still here on an H visa? I mean, I know this doesn't have anything to do, but what my question's kind of leading to, so you're not here on an F1 visa anymore, right?
No.
Since you're finished with school.
No, so
now you're a spouse.
Yeah, he's a green card holder.
Gotcha.
And he sponsored my green card.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it is a full like journey with visas and all these processes that takes a while. It's a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it works. So we are here.
Well, it's so funny that you like Seattle so much because you come from an area of the world that's just sunny and warm and beautiful. What was it that you like so much about Seattle? Or what is it that you like so much about
It is
Seattle?
very unique. Like for me, the summer in Seattle is the most beautiful summer that I have ever lived and experienced. In my hometown, the weather is just warm the whole time. It's a very nice city, but yeah, it gets pretty hot.
Right.
And I was never a fan of that weather. You know, the tropical weather. It was never my thing.
Oh, okay.
With my mom, we used to joke that someday we will move to Alaska.
Oh my gosh.
And I almost did it. Like, I'm not that far now that I think about it. But yeah, my hometown could get to the, I don't know, probably, let's say 110, 120 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
That in Celsius is around 45.
And you're near the water.
Yeah, we are near the water, so it's pretty humid.
I can't. Yeah, that's really nuts.
So when I moved here, I remember when I was interviewing with host families to have me with this au pair program, I remember my host mom told me, like, but the weather is very different to your hometown. It is rainy and it's cloudy and it's cold. And it was like, I would like to experience it. And it's not that bad. I mean,
it really isn't that bad.
It's rainy for sure, but it never rains that much or that hard. You know, it's like a constant drizzle.
Right.
That doesn't prohibit you to do your like regular activities.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I like it so much.
Buy a rain jacket, you'll be fine.
You will be fine.
But I think, I grew up in Oregon and it rained a lot in Oregon, but Seattle, it'll rain a little bit and then it'll stop and it might be gray out, but I take the dogs for a walk.
It's still doable.
For sure.
You can go for a walk, you can go for a coffee. Coffee here is excellent. I love coffee.
Me too.
So, yeah, I love it here.
Well, very cool. Tell me what your future plans are now that you're done with your short-term certificates. What do you want to do now?
So when I finished my computer science certificate, I reached out to my former manager in Microsoft to see if they have like an open position for me to go back to Microsoft, and they took me, and I joined. This was September? Yeah, no, probably October. They took me back in October. I went back to the company, and then by the end of November or first week of December, pretty recently, I got a new job opportunity.
That's great.
For a consulting firm that works for Microsoft as well, and I have a friend that works there, so she referred me to the recruiting team. And it is a very different like job position. In Microsoft, I used to work as an event planner, and it was more related to hospitality, catering and this kind of services. And here I'm working as a business consultant.
That's really cool.
So it's a different career, and I wanted to explore it. So I just took the chance, and I joined the company 1 week ago. So I'm pretty new. There I'm going to be working with Microsoft as well, because Microsoft is a huge company, and most of the companies around here work with Microsoft or for Microsoft. So I'm going to be working with Microsoft with some of their HR projects, which I'm
very cool.
Very excited about it.
And that's downtown?
This is in Bellevue.
Oh, it's in Bellevue. Okay.
Bellevue, but it's mostly working from home, which is another perk that I wasn't expecting.
Wonderful. Yeah.
For my future in terms of professional career is just grow professionally in this company, like making the next step as a senior consultant, and the next one probably as a manager. Yeah, personally, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my husband.
Sounds great. Yeah,
So more traveling, more adventures.
for sure.
And
Have you
that's
done
all.
much traveling around the U.S. just on vacations or?
Yeah, we love traveling. So
Oh, okay.
he's a big snowboarder.
Oh, well, you're
we
in a
go,
good spot.
We go to Whistler in Canada
Oh,
every
sure.
year.
Yeah, yeah. What about
Yeah,
Mount Baker? Do you go up to Mount Baker?
I haven't been there.
Great snow up
Is
there.
that
They get a
the
lot of snow.
Is that the one in Bend, Oregon? No,
No, that's Bachelor.
Bachelor.
So if you go up to Mount Baker, it's just up in the North Cascade National Park. It's really close to here, actually.
Okay,
Like
okay.
hour and a half, 2 hours,
I
you can be
see.
there. But they get hundreds of inches of snow. It's just a ton of snow every
Oh
year.
wow, I haven't been there.
Check it out.
We have been to Snoqualmie
Oh yeah, not too far away.
and Stevens Pass is
Of
our like
course.
home mountain,
Hmm.
and then we go to Whistler every year.
Yeah.
I love Whistler. It's pretty fun. It's
Yeah.
very close to Seattle. It's a very nice town in Canada. So
How long does it
it's very
take you to drive there? Is it 2 or 3 hours?
Depending on the traffic, it could be 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, it's that far.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll go to Vancouver, probably sleep there, and then the next day in the morning go straight
Up
to the mountain.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm
So you're a pretty good snowboarder?
I ski. My
Oh, you're a
is-
skier.
My husband snowboards. I ski.
Uh-huh.
But we are in a different level. Like I'm a beginner.
Oh, I say
I only do
you could be on the
greens.
Mexican Olympic team.
I
no
don't
skier.
think so.
Super G.
No,
not gonna happen?
No, I only do greens.
Only the green ones. Well, you'll get better for sure. Well, cool. Oh, do you hear that? That means it's trivia time.
Oh, wow.
Da-da-da-da. So we ask you 5 questions. These are just for fun, so don't stress about it.
Oh my
But they're
goodness.
usually related to education here. So let's get started with your first question. Your first question, since you were a short-term certificate holder, how many quarters do you have to do so that you qualify for OPT?
4. No, at least 3.
At
Sorry.
least 3. Good
At least
answer.
3.
Nice
At
job.
least 3.
Good. Next question also has to do with short-term certificates. There are 5 different certificates. You did 2 of them. Can you name one other one that you didn't do that is available?
There is another one that prepares you for the master
Yes, the MBA preparation.
MBA preparation.
That's right. Very good. That was a tough question.
That was my other choice. I was between the global business or the MBA prep.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's we have a lot of people come for those, so that's really
nice.
cool.
That's nice.
All right, third question. We have 3 campuses
Yeah.
for Seattle colleges. We have animals associated with each campus.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Can you
I know.
name 2 of the animals of the 3 campuses?
Tigers,
Tigers,
of course. And I don't remember other one. Wolves?
not the wolves. We have the otters out at the south campus.
Otters. Uh-huh.
And we have the tree frogs out at the
The
north.
tree frogs. Of
Still,
course.
good job.
I went to the 3 of them, the
Oh, you
3
did?
campuses.
You took classes at each one? That's really great. So when you went to South, how did you get to South? Did you just take the bus or?
I used to live in West Seattle when I was an au pair with my
That makes
host
sense.
family.
Cool. And then how would you get to North?
I will drive.
Drive out there. So you have a car?
I do now.
Yeah, yeah.
But back then I used to drive my host family's car.
Oh, very cool.
And I
Alright.
did the TOEFL preparation course
Mm-hmm.
to apply for the IP.
Oh, you did?
So I did the TOEFL preparation course in the North Seattle College, and I think that it was one quarter,
Uh-huh.
just 1 quarter, and then I took the test and I got the points with the test to apply for the IP short term.
So cool.
Then
Nice.
it was, I think that how much do you require? 90 points? 92 points?
Well, we have different tests. So with Duolingo, I think it's 90. I think.
But that's
Which
neo,
test
right?
did you take?
TOEFL.
Take the TOEFL. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
I remember I got 90 points, but probably it's around 100.
And that was enough.
That was enough. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Question number 4. There are, since you're a skier, snowboarder, there are a chain of mountains to the east of us that extend from basically California all the way into British Columbia. What is the name of that mountain chain?
Are those the North Cascades?
The Cascades, yes. They're the Cascade Mountains. Nice
Cascades.
job.
Okay.
Yeah. North Cascades are up here, but the whole chain is the Cascades.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice job. Very good. Last question, super easy. What was the last movie that you saw?
In the cinema?
Sure.
Hi.
Or on Netflix or whatever.
I don't remember. I rather watch TV series than movies. I actually don't remember. Fair Game.
Fair Game.
It's in Netflix.
There you go.
Or
Was it
Fair
good?
Play. It was good, but I didn't like the end.
You didn't like the movie all that much.
No, I liked the movie. I didn't like the end of the movie.
Oh, you didn't like the end of the movie?
I was like, really?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Who's in it? Anybody?
I don't remember.
famous?
Fair Play or Fair Game. It's the one of the girls that is in a chess TV series in Netflix too. She's from Brazil, but she speaks Spanish, Argentinian Spanish. I don't remember her name. But she's pretty popular now.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. You can check it out on...
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, great. Final question that we usually ask is advice. You know, you've been around for a while now. You did some time as an au pair. You did 2 different certificates. You've done OPT. So much great experience.
I feel that I did everything.
I know. So your big wisdom, people back home that are thinking about coming to school, maybe they're at a university in Mexico, or maybe they're a high school student thinking about coming to the United States and hopefully Seattle. But what kind of advice would you give them?
I will say, take your chances, take a risk, challenge yourself, make that decision that it's been spinning on your head, on your mind for a long time. If it's like spinning over there, it is because it's meant to happen. So take the risky move, take the chance, don't settle down, and get out of your comfort zone. It's always worth it.
That's a really good chunk of
It's
advice
always
there.
worth it.
Yeah. All right, and last stop is speaking in your own language for a few seconds. We've had Spanish speakers from a lot of different countries as guests. We've had Spain, we've had Peru, but we haven't had anyone speak in Spanish from Mexico, so you'll be our first. So maybe you can say like 10, 20 seconds worth of Spanish, whatever you want to say.
Sí, claro. No se pierdan el capítulo. Escúchenlo con mucha atención. Si tienen alguna duda, siempre investiguen e infórmense. No tomen decisiones sin tener la información necesaria para tomar esas decisiones. Prepárense, estudien inglés y échenle ganas. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí
Good.
se puede.
Good advice. Well, cool. It was so great to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Especially
It
you
was so
just
much
started
fun.
a job.
Yeah.
You're busy, so I'm glad you took the time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, my pleasure. So we'll see you guys in Mexico soon. Yeah. Have a great night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.